Good afternoon, everybody. Nilay Patel here from SilverSilk and More, and just being as shiny as I possibly can with my tiara because we're in that time of season in October where we can dress up unapologetically, really. I, again, am the owner of and designer and educator here at SilverSilk and More. I want to welcome you to the Great Beat Extravaganza event that's happening. I haven't gotten to check out the presentations quite yet. I'm going to wait till they're all done and recorded and I can play them back to back. I think that that's what a lot of us do, in fact, and sometimes that's hard to catch stuff live because we're doing stuff behind the scenes or just have family stuff or whatever. But we do appreciate you guys tuning in every single time and giving us something to be inspired for, something to create for you guys to either replicate or do your own spin-off for it. I've got a really great collection of projects, actually. So sort of like, motor mouth with my intro here, just because there's a lot to get into for our projects, because there's 3 of them. And so I want to make sure I cover all of those tips and techniques for you guys pretty thoroughly. This is a live show, which means I'm going to pause occasionally and read some comments that are happening as they come in. I love questions. I love all of you guys. The live shows are my favorite. And of course, because they just allow for some spontaneity and interaction and just some, sharing of good vibes, if you will, with each other. A few announcements that I want to make as I'm seeing people's names popped in. Hey, Stephanie, Miss Mary is here. Robin over from Facebook. We got Heather from YouTube. I'm going to flash her real quick. Hi, Heather. Let's see. All right. I want to talk about a huge workshop that is going to kind of finish out the year for us. And I do typically, too. I kind of didn't get a chance to do the first one mid-year, but I know a lot of you guys were sort of asking about, hey, we need some sort of celebration at the end. And of course, Teresa, my brand ambassador, as well as Joan, have been sort of poking a stick at me to get something together. And I did. So I wanted to talk to you guys about a event called Beadscapade, which is beads and escapade, like kind of meshed together because it just sounded kind of cute. But this is going to be a marathon of jewelry making for a week in December. And I believe it is the 11th through the 15th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just double check. Yes, the 11th through the 15th. And we've got a great lineup of projects. There are 2 each day that I'm going to teach you, or a friend is going to join me, and we're going to do a project together. So there are a total of 10 essential kits. So let me explain what that means. You are going to get within the kit all the SilverSilk contents. However, the head pins, jump rings, beading wire, and craft wire is totally going to be all on you guys to acquire. I'll have notations for each of those items, and there's not a whole lot, to be honest. It's just stuff that's tedious to pack and really drives up the cost, and I wanted to keep it more on the SilverSilk side, just because that stuff is the most important and integral part of each of the designs that myself and my friends have, concepted to put together. So all of the SilverSilk is included. In fact, I was showing this to Joan earlier. I'm going to cover this up. This is just one of the many kits that are available in that big kit. And so you kind of can see what the contents are. And it'll have like a list of what's in the kit and then what you'll need to acquire later on. This whole thing will start mailing out early November. And since the workshop itself is in December, you'll get the kit early in time and you'll be able to sort through all the fun stuff. So if you haven't yet, be sure to grab that kit. It's available on silversilkonline.com. There, I flashed that graphic. And join us for Beadscapade. Fun time. Let's see here. Okay, we need to get to the projects. Hi, Shira. Shira's in the house. It's Diana. Good to see you. Hello to you. Miss Kim is here. Hi, guys. So fun. Okay, I got all of my pals coming in. All right. What I'm gonna do is flip the camera around. I know many of you grabbed the Great Beat Extravaganza kits, which I'm gonna talk about now. Let me do this real quick. Perfect. So if you grab the Great Beat Extravaganza kit, you will have received 3 kits, 3 individual pieces, because this is a collection of jewelry that we're going to make together. It is fall inspired, but it's not heavy on the leaves and changing of colors and stuff. I wanted to go with a really rustic, cool theme for this particular design structure, I guess. I don't know why, it just inspired me, and hopefully it will inspire you guys. Doesn't have to be necessarily worn in the fall either. These are designs that can be worn year round, and they're just absolutely stunning. So here's the bracelet that we're gonna make. Love me an asymmetrical bracelet, and of course it is embellished with the pipe chain and pipe chain end caps. You get a cool magnetic clasp and a great little like smoky quartz half moon to work with. Super delicious. I'm gonna take this crown off because it's going to fall from my head. We're gonna make a pair of earrings. This is a very unusual design that I made with pipe chain, but I love a long earring and it really does highlight this wooden pendant so deliciously. So we'll be doing a little bit of wire wrapping and manipulating the wires to create these really cool little curves on both sides, in fact. So you can wear it however, and it's not going to be a single-sided earring. Here's the other one, but I put it on a clamp where this is, what do they call it? The clip-on earring, just so I could wear it in a picture that I posted the Silkies group. I will wear that later. And finally, I've got the necklace design. So hopefully I'll be able to get through all of this within the hour. It's gonna be a tall ask, but certainly if I don't, you guys can check me out in the Silkies Facebook group, and there I will do a live video to finish out the project in case I don't make it. But let's do our best. We're gonna go ahead and start with the bracelet, and I'm gonna go over the materials in the kit and we'll construct it together. So let me move that to the side. And I'm gonna pop on some of these comments, pop over to them so that I could see what's happening. Marianne, I gotta flash her comment. I love hearing from MA. I am blessed that my sister-in-law gifted me this gift. Such gifts are always appreciated and unexpected. Oh, that's so sweet. Love that. Are you talking about Dav? You must be talking about Dav. Heather says, love those discs. Aren't those cool? I got those from Tucson. I got most of these supplies actually from Tucson, and I've hoarded them for the right project that spoke to me, and this was it. This was it, y'all. Okay, so in your little like mini single kit there, you'll receive a strand of soft flex beading wire, which looks like this in medium size, and I think this is a foot. You won't need all of it. We'll just use as much as we need to create the bracelet and move on from there. You'll need some pipe chain. This is way more than you actually need, but I was feeling generous, and so you get a little extra to play around with. We'll just need enough to do a half bracelet. Now, you could definitely go off, and do your own pattern and design. Perhaps you want to use all of it, no beads. That's an option. You can. Where are these balloons coming up from? Is that you, John? No, that's hilarious. I hope they come up again. That was so fun. Okay, lost my train of thought because that's what ADHD does, doesn't it? Which I probably got. Anyway, you can design this however you want to. There's enough to play with, but again, we'll just be using a little snippet of it. Okay, and then we've got some wire. This is important just because I'm going to use it as a part of my trickery to get the curve of the bracelet perfect within the pipe chain. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Within the pipe chain, I have discreetly tucked in that little piece of wire so that I can bend it to whatever shape I want to. So if I want it to really form around my wrist and stay in its shape, that is the trick to do that. So we'll cover that. And then some seed beads and some little gemstones and jump rings and stuff in here. These are really cool little gemstone beads. So let me string this up and show you guys the structure of it. Oh, there's also a couple crimps within that kit too, so make sure you have those out and you don't lose them. I probably might, so hopefully I don't is really it, but never know. This is a live show. All right, I'm gonna start by stringing the centerpiece on because that's the showpiece, right, of this whole thing. Let's see here. There we go. I mean, my fingerprints are on this, but imagine this whenever I can like really polish this little guy up. So delicious. All right, so one side of the bracelet is strung beads, and so I'm gonna just do a pattern of seed bead, gemstone seed bead. Let me spill these out real quick, hopefully not all over the table, but we'll see. Maybe I just do a few at a time, that way it doesn't get out of hand. There we go, so I got them all right there. So we'll just do a pattern of seed bead. And there are quite a few gemstones in this kit. You might end up using all of them, or you might not. That is totally up to you guys and the size of the bracelet you wish to create. Oh, Lisa says new update to Apple Balloon. Oh my gosh, if that happened from that must have happened from my phone. How exciting. Like I said, I kind of hope it happens again, or I need to figure it out. That way I could figure out some cool graphics for Beads Campaign. That'd be hilarious. Okay, so you could see that my seed beads are stringing up, and I love the different color variations of this particular stone. I think it's tiger's eye. I am not the the gemstone expert here necessarily, but I do love gemstones and I love the colors and can pick out pretty exquisite stones, if I do say so myself. But then again, we're all drawn to expensive things, aren't we? Okay. You could see that there's also some pipe chain end caps in my kit there. These are custom made for the pipe chain and are plated so that they are tarnish resistant and stay shiny. They are definitely unlike any other end caps out there, and they do match the entire color range of findings within the SilverSilk, findings house. Okay, I don't even know how many I'm supposed to string here. Let me take a look. I'm just kind of measure accordingly to this bracelet, and it looks like I just need two more. Do we need two more? Three more. I need three more. Okay. I know this bracelet fits me personally, so like that's probably what I'm gonna do. Okay. Whoop. Do another seed bead here. These little seed beads tend to get a little crazy out of hand if you don't keep an eye on them. So that was 1, 2, 3, and we'll end with a seed bead. Just like that. Cool, cool. So normally I'd have a bead stopper on hand. I don't think I've got one at my table at the moment. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this. I could probably also loosely knot this just so things don't slip out as I'm working with it. Okay. And on the other side, I have got the pipe chain. So we're going to start with the end cap. Okay, followed by the actual pipe chain. So like we've got yay much here. However, what you probably want to do is measure it to the length of the gemstones and just subtract like a couple millimeters off because the pipe chain end caps are also going to add some to the length of this. So here we go. Okay, that looks about right. Did I miss a seed bead? Wait a minute. Seed, that. No. I did over here. Oh, thank you, Melanie. Good gosh. Okay, y'all are gonna have to be my eyes here. Definitely care about missing these things. So this is what live shows are perfect for. Definitely want to put my seed bead down and have the perfect bracelet. Thank you, Melanie. That's how I know my friends are watching out for me. Okay, okay, here we go. I think we're in good shape now. Yeah. How's that? Boom. All right. Okay, so I'm going to string on my pipe chain, but I'm also going to simultaneously string on a piece of wire between, or rather inside the pipe chain itself. So I just want to cut this a little bit shorter than the actual length of the pipe chain. So about probably right there. Okay, I'm gonna knot this back up just because I'm afraid to have my beads go all over the place. So let's just do that. And I do need to straighten out this wire. It's going to make it 10 times easier to string through the pipe chain. So I am going to grab a pair of nylon jaw pliers and some regular chain nose pliers. And I'm just going to begin straightening this out. Ooh. There we go. I need to get new jaws for these things. Like, look how worn out those are. Ridiculous. They're my favorite, though. I love having those. The handle on them is perfect. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and tuck that right in. And it'll just disappear right into the actual pipe chain itself. So now you're pretty much set to go. And just going to scooch all this down, get this right out. Sometimes you're going to have these little sticky outies that happen at the end of the pipe chain when you cut it. Worry not, because the wire is not going to fray. You just simply need to pluck off anything that's going to get in the way of your pipe chain end cap. And this applies really to all of the different chains that I carry at SilverSilk and more. So once you've done that, you could just stick that pipe chain end cap right over it. Same thing on this side. And, oh, I didn't clear out the ends on this. Let me do that real quick. Brilliant. Once you've done that, just give it a good little pinch, and then you can string on the end cap as such. So let's get that out of the way. This is what your bracelet should look like at this point. We're ready to crimp. So let me hope I can find my crimps here. Here's one of them, and here's the other. Okay. Oof, thank goodness. What I'm going to do is crimp them to a jump ring, which I have out here. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that my jump rings are closed all the way. There we go. And I'm going to grab a crimp, string that right through, grab my jump ring, string that on. And if you are familiar with crimping, this should be easy peasy. If you're not and are new to crimping, then you're in for a treat, because I'm using Softflex crimps along with their beading wire, and everything is just super easy and streamlined to be able to crimp. In a nutshell, all of this should be quite easy to do, but you just string that beading wire right back through the crimp. And I'm going to actually use a pair of regular crimpers. These are from Xuron. Love having these. They have a tapered nose as well as 3 different crimp settings. So I'm going to start with that V-shaped notch at the very end. And what it's going to do is when I press it down, it'll give 2 different divots, or 2 different channels, I guess, and a single divot in between them. And you turn it on its side and then use the middle notch to squish it together. And that creates your crimp. So now what I do is you could either tuck it back into the pipe chain and the end caps there like that. Just give it nice and clean edge there. And then start to scooch everything down toward the end that's crimped, making sure that stuff is tucked away as it needs to be. You can, at this point, go ahead and create your little half moon shape with the pipe chain, and then you're ready to basically crimp this side. So you can undo this knot. You can look for your crimp as I needed to, and then string on your crimp. Find your other jump ring that's hiding on the table, and then string right back through the crimp. I don't know if I'll be able to get through those seed beads, but that's okay. As long as it's through the crimp, it's going to be pretty secure. I am going to make sure that I keep my bracelet form and shape as I crimp this and tighten it, just to make sure that the project or the design isn't going to be stiff. So once I kind of got it to a place where I like it, as I tighten it, I can then go ahead and crimp. Just like that. And then I can trim off the rest of this wire. And it's going to be held pretty securely. So at this point, all I have to do is just look for the seams of my jump ring, open them up, and slide on my magnetic clasp that likes to stick to everything for both sides here. And I've got a few leftover beads that I could possibly use for some other project, maybe some earrings, I don't know. Yours to collect and hoard, my friends. Okay, there we go. And that is our bracelet that I have now 2 pairs of. Pairs? A pair? I have a pair of bracelets. I guess I could wear them like together, kind of like this maybe. Super fun. But yeah, that is the asymmetrical bracelet in a nutshell. Melanie says I'm so cute. Y'all are cute. Hey, Jennifer Miller. Lovely to see your name pop in. I am going to trade off the stuff that was on my table and get started with our next project because it's a marathon, y'all. We're going to do all 3 of these. I'm going to make 1 earring, and then all you have to do is just replay the earring part of the video, and I've made 2 earrings. Okay, so let me grab the kit for that. Here we go. And let me clear out some of these tools. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm trying to keep an organized desk here. Not possible for all beaders, which I might add. And I would be one of them. So let's go. Dump it all out. And I'm going to grab the wire first. This is 26 gauge soft flex craft wire in vintage bronze. Beautiful, thin, easy to work with, extremely soft. And I've got some pipe chain. Delicious. This is the hematite color, which I love. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half because that's how much we're going to use. So what I do is I just kind of squish this down to give it a mark of where I know I need to cut it. And then trim it in half. So you've got these beautiful wood discs. I kind of wish I knew what wood grain these were, but I can't think off the top of my head. I know I did get this in Tucson from a vendor that was in the True Bead, True Blue. Gosh, I said that wrong. True Bead, True Blue. I think that's it. True Bead, True Blue. So it's one of those combinations. Anyway, and a very cool vendor that his family owned and has all these amazing wood beads and other trinkets and stuff in his shop. And I had to pick up the wood discs just because they were so cool and wanted to use them on a project. And here we are. So you'll need a couple of those. I've got some earring hooks in here that I'm going to set to the side, a few jump rings. And of course, I've got these really smart little stones that I cannot identify for the life of me. Shara, if you're here, maybe you can kind of, I don't know, give me some notification of like what this might be. I have no idea. But I knew I loved them. It was love at first sight, you know? Need to be able to put on that or take a class with stone telling, stone identification. So you'll need those, and then I think that's about it for this kit. So let's just get started. I'm going to take all of this wire, and I believe you got 3 feet, maybe 4. I don't remember. I'm going to open this up and see. It's been a while since I packed these kits, but I know that there was definitely an abundance of materials in here. Oh, there we go. It's like I wrapped this well, very well, apparently, that I couldn't even open it up. Okay, let's see what we got here to work with. So much wire. Really, what you could do is split the wire in half because you're going to need the other side for the other earring anyway. So let me go ahead and do that. And this looks like more than 4 feet. So you guys got a lot. Okay. Split that in half. I'm going to roll up this other side just so it stays out of the way. When in doubt, just say Jasper. Yes, yes. It's a Jasper, you guys. It's a good one. I like that, Shara. Okay, I am going to figure out how to do this because it's been a hot minute. What I believe we started with for the earring is that we're going to do the bottom first, and then we'll just use the leftover wire to create the top portion. So what I'm going to do is fold my wire in half right over the disc with just a little bit here to work with, because I'm going to wire wrap that little coil right around the stem of my working wire. So to do that, you might not even need that much. In fact, you just need a very little bit. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap that around. You can use your fingers, or if you are not as precise as I'm trying to be right now, you can definitely use some pliers to help out. So once again, if you've got your Xuron pliers on hand or a pair of chain nose pliers, you can really get in there and get a nice little tight coil going for you right on that disc. Okay, as such, looks pretty good. The wire is quite minuscule, and so it's a little hard to see, but got a pretty good wire coil there going. And now I can string on a bead, a jasper, if you will. And what I'm going to do is go up through my disc. Go ahead and pull it all the way through. And I guess what I'm going to do here is sort of what would be considered a little bit of like wire knitting in a way, wire wrapping smartly. I don't know. But I've made that little loop there, so I'm just going to string right through it again. And what this is going to do is tighten the wire around the bead. But with wire, you got to be careful because you get these kinks in the way as they sort of happen. And so just do your best to take it one wrap at a time and keep it nice and tight as you do this. But you could see right there that that's what that's supposed to look like. Kind of looks like a knit to me. And so let me get these tools out of the way because I know as I'm wrapping stuff with wire, and wire tends to get out of hand for me, it's going to hook around one of my tools. All right, so drop a bead down. Okay, go up through the disc again, and then go through the loop that you're about to make. So once I tighten this, you can see that the bead there that I dropped earlier is hanging out there. So I'm just going to drop that closer to that bead from earlier, and then I'm going to go down through this loop that I've just made. Okay, and then once I tighten it, you'll see that that just sort of snaps in place as such. So now I get to just do that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times to get a total of 7 beads on there. Let's see. Jennifer says Nile's TGBE kit was like a mini workshop kit. Love, love, love. It really, you know what's funny, Jennifer, that you mentioned that is it was intended to be a workshop for the summer that just never panned out. And it was, I think I had the projects finished essentially. I just never really did anything with them, and didn't even have the kits build necessarily. But I sort of just waited until the right opportunity came up, which was the Great Bead Extravaganza, and I was like, you know, this is perfect for fall. And I love the colors because they're earthy, they're warm, they're very rich in brown and sort of reminds me of the season. And so that just kind of all clicked together. And the other two projects, because normally in my workshop I do at least 5 projects, but I didn't really design the other 2 projects, as this is about as far as I got. Okay, there we go. Isn't this fun? Like, this is such an easy technique. It's very achievable to do with beads, and when you decorate it with silver silk, it just adds that magic to your design. Oh, you guys, I tried to be fancy and get that all wrapped at once. See if I can actually do it. Oh, I can't. Okay. Whew. That would have almost been embarrassing. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this will be one of the 2 that I need. Okay. So pretty. If someone doesn't stop me, I could just go all the way around, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try and keep restrained here. Okay, up through the donut, pull this tight. There we go. So I have now 7 on there. Okay, that's gonna bother me because that is way off color. So I'm not going to use that stone at the very end. I will save that stone for the middle of my other earring, should I make it later. And I'm going to switch to a color that matches this. That's way better. Ooh, sometimes you got to make these little like quick on the spot edits. Because I'm telling you, y'all, stuff can get out of hand if you don't keep an eye on it. There we go. And with random stones, or if you'd like to call them jaspers, wink, wink, that just happens. Sometimes the stones are just different, and you got to pick through them to see what's gonna work. All right, got this in place. I'm going to wrap this, coil it around that last loop that I made a couple times. This is probably extremely tedious, but you can use your index finger to pull against or push against that wire so that it gets nice and close as possible to your bead. Now, if it's off by a little bit, that's okay, because we are going to create designs using our chain nose pliers to kind of tighten up that wire and give it some extra aesthetic. And it'll also kill the gap. So once I got that coiled around a couple times, I can go ahead and trim it. If you trim it at an angle, points, because it's much easier to tuck in. Okay, here we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and, before I embellish, finish out the top piece. So I've got all this wire left over from wrapping, and I'm going to fold it in half and cut it. And it's important that you wait till the end to do the silver silk pipe chain part, because you want to make sure you have enough wire left over to, to finish out this end part. I'm going to string both of them through the pipe chain, just like this. And at this point, what I can do is go ahead and grab my disc. I'm going to have equal parts of wire on each side of the pipe chain, which that looks about right to me. And I'm going to string through the disc, both of these at the same time. Okay. I want to make sure that my wires stay next to each other as such. And I'm going to go ahead and scooch my pipe chain down, and I'm going to gently wrap just a couple times to start the wire around the base of the larger piece of wire that I have there. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'll bring this around, go through the donut, maybe. I know it wants to, so there's enough space there. There we go. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it. And then pull it tight, make sure that those wires are parallel right next to each other. And if this loop is too big for you, cut it down. You know, you can always take off like a half inch or an inch and make that loop smaller. You're not obligated or forced to use all of it, of course. That is totally up to your discretion and how big and dangly you want your earring to be. So now what I can do is, because this side is secure, I can kind of press this all down nice and tight, and I can start to wire wrap this. The idea here is to wrap it a couple times tightly and then loosely thereafter, to be able to start climbing it onto the pipe chain to hide the ends. Okay, this takes a little bit of extra maneuvering here with the wires, but you'll start to notice that it does wrap right over it. And later you can go in with your pliers and make sure that that's all nice and tucked in. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And if it doesn't quite work, undo it and just start again. Looks like it was a little loose from the get-go. So I'm going to realign it. Okay, there we go. And just start over. Easy peasy. Don't worry about wire getting kinked or whatever. It's going to be wrapped around anyway. So you don't have to be too specific with it. You can just kind of keep it organic and nice and light. Make sure that that stuff is wrapped around tightly there at the base. That's what I love about the 26 gauge wire, is because it's so forgiving. And now we're ready to go ahead and create these beautiful little curves in our wire. Okay, so I'm going to grab my pliers, and I would probably recommend a wider chain nose pliers like these, where they don't have too narrow of a tip. And then you can kind of just create your design however you wish by grasping onto the stem of the wire that's wrapped, and then just giving it a good twist. So here I can go this way, or I could turn it left. And I'm going to do this to both sides to create this really cool sort of circuit boardy look to it. Okay, easy peasy. So I'm going to do that to the other side too. This will tighten up everything finally, and it's going to look really cool when it's worn. You don't have to be too aggressive with it. You can just have little loose ones. You can have a couple tight ones. You could even leave one straight if you wanted. Totally up to you. The idea here is just to give it a little design aesthetic while also tightening that wire, and it's just going to look absolutely stunning. So at this point, you can just add on your jump rings, however many you want to. I think there's 4 in the kit, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add in my earring hook. In case, like, I'm going to probably do the clip-on earring later, but hey, you guys get the idea. So there it is. That's the earring design. You'll just do that ×2. Pretty fun and funky, isn't it? Okay, let's clean up the board and get started with our third project, because we are halfway done with this marathon, and I'm not giving up, y'all. Like, I'm going to win this. I'm going to do 3 projects. And I still have about 20 minutes, so that's good. I'll need definitely a cup of water later for all this talking. Joan, maybe you can flash a few comments up to, like, let's see what the folks are saying as I'm getting my next project ready. Y'all, give some snaps to Joan. She's helping me in the background here, and she is an incredible woman who is extremely talented and does tutorials herself for Jules and me occasionally. Hi, Marilyn. Says you always have new stuff. And then we got our friend over from Facebook saying hello. Oh, here's the other one. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. Got my stuff out on the board here, and we are going to create this beautiful necklace design that's a say something pendant. You get this really cool Z bead that is the show-stopping focal for this piece. But the fun doesn't end there with because you get all these gemstones and stuff at the bottom. So this requires a little bit of fun construction, and we are going to be using our leather knitted cord. Hopefully I said that right. Knitted leather cord. I can't remember how I named it, but it is essentially leather cord that has knitted wire knitted over it. How many times can I say the word knitted in a sentence? This one is the rustic color. Jennifer says the GGBE kit. Yes, like a mini workshop. Definitely. This is a 3-foot spool of the rustic color. It's got brown leather cord with hematite that has been knitted over it, and it's so fun to use. In this case, it's the perfect complement to the Z bead, I think. So what I'm going to do is set that to the side for now, and we're going to work on this bottom part of our pendant first. As far as materials go, whoops, a little too high up. I've got this great set of resin rings that I'm going to be using. So we're going to work with our larger one first. And then if you look in the back of your kit, you'll have received a piece of wire. These kits are all practically sold out at this point, which I am so sorry, guys, because I only make a limited quantity. However, if you might have some, similar materials, then maybe you can kind of concoct a similar design using some of these materials from my store, perhaps too. I'm going to unspool this wire that I've got here to work with, and we're going to do some wire wrapping around our resin ring with some seed beads. And I think what I'm going to do is cut the wire in half. That's included. Because honestly, I don't remember how much wire I put in, but I know it does not require a whole lot to wrap around that ring. So I'm just going to use half, which I'm going to go ahead and say is about 2.5 feet. Because this looks like a 5-foot spool, which is a pretty good amount of wire to work with. Okay. I'm going to save the rest of it over here as I'm getting organized on the back end. All right. So to do this, pretty easy, actually. I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of that 26 gauge wire in antique copper. I'm going to start to just wrap it around the ring and then create a coil around the base a couple times like that. A little loose and willy-nilly, but we'll tighten it up using some pliers. I'm going to go ahead and trim it off here, and I'll use some chain nose pliers to tighten that right up. All right, so now at this point, I'm just creating wraps with these beads, and I'm doing one with a bead and one without a bead in between. So I'll slide that down and kind of position it right over the resin ring with my thumb so that it kind of stays there. You see it's not really supported by anything, and it doesn't need to be because once I wrap it around by the wire by itself, I'm ready to add another seed bead to it. Okay, and it's got a little bit of room to move around. No big deal. That's what we want. Okay, so I'll grab a seed bead from there. And by the way, these are size 8 travertine seed beads. And I love the color on it. It just is so exquisite against this brown colored resin ring. Gosh, my tools are all over the place. Wire wrapping. So let me move those. Okay. And continue to wrap. These resin rings are so fun. Again, another product I found that is from a fabulous vendor and needed to incorporate them into a design. So I bought a bunch from this vendor and still have some in my inventory, my stash of things, my hoarding that I'll eventually do something with. Okay, there we go. All right, we got like 15 minutes, so I gotta speed this stuff up. Although I guess I can bleed over into the 30-minute spot break between the next session as we do this, so I shouldn't pressure myself too much. Okay, wrap that around. Are you guys making this with me, by the way? I know I just went over a ton of different projects with you, but I'm just curious to know if y'all are making some stuff with me. Okay, wrapping around. Oh, you know what? Let's take a look at our design here. Oh wait, no, I'm good. The thing is, we're going to wrap all the beads around, and then we use some wire to create these little smart head pins, essentially. As you can see, it's a little bit of wire wrapping. So let's just continue doing this real quick as we work through this design. And I think I need a total of, I need to do a head count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 seed beads wrapped. And you can have more or less. That's totally up to you. But I know for sure if you're gonna do the pendant on the bottom, you're gonna need some seed beads to fill that out. Oh yeah, Michelle says I am making, I'm drooling, and I'm a dreamer too. I love that. That's like well said. Making and drooling. That's pretty much me for any of the live videos too. For other people, maybe not making. I'm just really drooling. Sometimes their seed beads and other gemstones and beads just get to me. Maybe a little bit of crying, like with happy tears. I don't know. Beads will have a different effect on different people. Okay. I've got 6 so far with my gabbing. Oh, I know. I heard something roll off the tip. Here we go. Caught it. You see what happens? I have some runaways. I feel like my table is not that bad. Like, why would beads want to run away from my table? Okay. Still wrapping. So I'm looking at this. Go. And probably should have just had this done ahead of time, but I wasn't thinking. Which is okay. That's fine. It's all from scratch, which makes this whole thing a little more appealing. There's no TV magic behind the live videos sometimes, and just depends on how much work I can get done. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Need 9 more. Again, you'll have a few different seed beads left over for this so that you can either decorate that small ring that you've got, which is, part of the necklace up here. You can always seed bead that up. Or if you've got some runaways on your table and you can't find them, and you spend hours looking on your hardwood floors, knowing that it rolled somewhere, not that I've been there, then you can use some of the extra seed beads from the kit as spares. This is like me meditating and also counting, which does require work. Easy to trail off. I'm also reading some comments on the backside here. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, goodness. I need to wire wrap a little faster. What did I say? 12. This is 13. And what I could do is I'm going to show you guys how to do a single fringe or two and then construct the rest of the design, because I want to make sure that you guys know and have all the knowledge for making the top part of the piece. The fringe is quite easy because it's just taking the leftover wire and creating your own head pins. And there's plenty of video content out there for that. By the way, speaking of video content, how many of you all are subscribed to my YouTube channel? Because that's where the real game is for SilverSilk creation. It is a giant library chock full of videos that I have recorded since owning SilverSilk and more, and filled with all kinds of inspiration, a few giggles, some new ideas, new ways to use the different lines of SilverSilk. Go check it out and go subscribe. Give me some love on that channel. All right, 1, 2, 3, let's count this again. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, I need 3 more. Okay, there we go. 1. Our friend from YouTube is saying, will 6 size 6 seed beads work? Also, I have multiple colors. You know what? I say go for it, because yes, it could work. It'll be a little bit thicker and bigger, but that's okay. Like, I love a good chunky necklace myself. Okay, I'm not going to do 17 and 18 because it just would have essentially like met up at the top anyway. So we are going to kill it at 16 seed beads. In which case, by the way, if you are using a larger seed bead, you'll end up using less seed beads because it's going to work itself around the ring pretty quickly. Okay, same thing from earlier. Remember in our earring design, we just wrapped it around the base of our wire there. Okay, and once you've done that, just go ahead and cut off all that wire and save it. Don't throw it away because we're going to need that. And we are going to tuck in that little piece there. Okay, so we've got a nice little floret of beads there. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to set that down, because what I really, really want to do is construct the top part of this. So we've got a series of 3 jump rings followed by our resin ring. So go ahead and grab those jump rings. And these are pretty big. These are like 7mm jump rings on the inner diameter. They're pretty big. I'm going to hook 3 of them together as well as the resin ring. So let's just do this all in one fell swoop here. Okay. That and okay, and the other one, I'm going to go ahead and connect it onto that last jump ring as such. And actually that jump ring can now attach to the top part of my resin ring that I just created. Oop, right here. Okay, that's going to be a tight squeeze, so I'm going to need another pair of pliers. As such, cute already, right? And now what we can do is finish out our necklace and add on our centerpiece first. So grab your chain, and you can measure how long of a necklace you want this to be, bearing in mind that the crimps, which are the single strand end caps, as well as the clasp, is going to add a little bit of extra space to your finished design. And so what I'm going to do is leave it at the full length. No, I'm going to trim this down because that's kind of long. If I trim it down, then I bet I could get a bracelet out of this too. Oh yeah. Pretty generous bracelet, mind you. I'm gonna get like this much left over. You get a full 3-foot spool with this, so there's a lot to work with. All right, so just trim it off wherever you feel like you want your necklace to be. And go ahead and crimp on the end caps, which are the single strand silver silk end caps. Try saying that 7 times. So you string that on at the end. You grab a pair of wide nose pliers that have been dipped in Tool Magic. And actually, before you do that, remember that step from before where you kind of pluck off the ends so that they don't get in the way of the crimping? Well, just go back and go ahead and do that and get that all nice and tidied up. And then go in and crimp the ends. And just use your wide nose pliers. I dipped this in a product called Tool Magic, so it's got like a white dipped silicone end, and it helps to grip the finding, but also it doesn't scratch it, so very advantageous. You also know that these are my end caps because I've got the SS imprinted right into it, all smart-like. I'm going to do that on the other side too. Usually if you tap the end, you'll see the little wire flicker out, and that's the part that you want to pluck off. And then again, just grabbing the end cap and squishing it in. You have to sing it while you do this. That's the best way to crimp it. Then you go ahead and if you're joining Beadscape, by the way, there might be a little singing involved because you cannot have a workshop without some shenanigans. Okay, press it. And there you go. If the seam of your end cap is closed like this over your chain, and you give it a good tug, you're not gonna see it, fall apart or do anything. Then it is a very secure crimp. Okay, so I got this all nice and tidied up at the ends, and now what I can do is embellish my pendant here. So what I'm gonna do is gather up my ends, and I'm going to gather my Z bead. And I'm going to go ahead and, with the center, keeping that in mind, sort of taper this down to where it's going to fit nice and snug with each other. So again, making sure that it is in the middle, I'm going to kind of mark it right here and just make sure that the ends, see these ends are not even. So I need to adjust this just a hair to make sure that it's all going to be perfectly aligned. It's a little better. That should do it. Yeah. So now I got a really symmetrical ends there. And the wires are crisscrossed to my liking. I can, in fact, kind of just mark it there with my fingers. And again, just measuring in between, making sure that this is going to fit. And the idea here is to wrap my Z bead over the chain and then down here attach it with my resin ring. So I'm going to grab my leftover wire. And you can do this with 2 wires running through the Z bead, which is probably recommended, or you can kind of go up and down the Z bead as you're wrapping it. Either way, no wrong answer, just wanting to get a tight, secure hold there. So I'm just going to wrap this around a couple times here at the top. And what's great is that the knitted texture is going to grasp onto my wrapping. Okay, string on your Z bead. Oh, come on, Z bead. Be a good Z bead. Okay, there we go. You have to talk to your seed beads too, and your beads. Okay, I'm going to wrap it around a couple times around just this knitted wire, but then I'm going to also wrap it with the resin ring before going back up through the Z bead. So to do this, I kind of just squish all this down, use my index finger to pull it down if I need to. And once I get a wrap on it, I can then insert my resin ring, wrap it around a couple times for both of those, and then go back up through the Z bead with my remaining wire. So that way you kind of have 2 strands running through it, which makes it super secure. If you've got extra wire, even a 3rd time might not be a bad idea. If you choose to not use the wire from the kit, you could definitely use 22 gauge wire, which would make it a little bit more secure. So there's options, however you want to do this. It's your journey to jewelry making. There we go. Just pull it right through with your pliers, get this all nice and aligned. You can see it's all coming together quite smartly. Okay, and then just wrap the rest around the top if you want to. And then to end this, what you can do is just wrap it at the stem to hide it, or you can wrap it back into the coil that you just made. No right or wrong answer, just making it nice and clean is really the trick. Okay, I'm just going to do that a couple times to keep it nice and secure. Trim it off, and same thing on this side. Okay, this thing's in the way. Let's do that. Probably much easier to see what I'm doing now. Okay. The leather knitted cord provides an amazing canvas to work off of because its structure is just unbelievably robust and holds its shape very well. So it makes everything kind of easy to adjust on the fly, gives it good shape. It doesn't have as soft of a drape as the capture chain does, but each chain that I carry serves a different design purpose, as I like to say. And so depending on what you're looking for, and the question I get asked a lot is, what do you do with silver silk? Well, it depends on what you want to make. You know, I've used silver silk for almost a lot of, well, not almost everything, but a lot of things. And that's where the YouTube library comes in handy because you know, a beginning project for me is going to be way different from what I'm envisioning for someone versus maybe what they're thinking. But it just depends on what chain you want to use to create what it is you want to make. So keeping up with the different tutorials and styles on there is important. All right, let's do a quick little fringe here at the bottom, and we can kind of talk our way to the end of the show here. So I'm going to grab the rest of my wire, and I don't know where I just put it. So that's a thing. Let me look here real quick as I'm fishing for that. I don't know. Oh, okay. Wait, I think I found it. Just use this one. I'm going to use this wire for my earring. The other one is on my table somewhere, but heck if I know. All right, I'm going to grab some more wire, and to do these little stems, that's quite easy. You just need about 4 inches at a time to work with. And so starting with the center one, which looks like this, what I'm going to do is string on a seed bead. So I guess you do need your seed beads to the end. So don't throw them away or use them up. Okay. I just wrap that around the seed bead as such. And it's going to be covered in beads, so don't worry too much about how it looks. Okay, you can grab a little chocolate labradorite or a faceted electroplated labradorite, should you have it in your kit, and then just string it over the coil that you made. A little nugget of fun. Okay, another, I think this is a quartz of some sort. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but man, I really need to start labeling everything that I have. It's so sad. Another, I know this one is mountain, no wait, Colorado Boulder something. Shoot. I don't know. I'm not gonna talk about gemstones anymore. It's a beautiful jasper. It's not what it is. I think it's in the description actually on the website. I'm going to find the center-ish of my ring here, which is about right there. And I'm gonna string through the seed bead as I sort of make the wire wrap around this. So you can take that extra wire and you can kind of go around your beads if you want to. Or you could just go ahead and wrap it around at the top there. It depends on how much you want to decorate this. That's totally up to you. And I'm going to go and decorate my beads because that's where I'm at today. Okay, I'm going to wrap it around that little stone. I'm going to trim that right off. Tuck it in. And do you remember the technique that we learned from the earring where we can take our wire and do these cool little wraps? Whoops. Not wraps, I'm sorry. Cool little shapes with it as we sort of twist and turn our chain nose pliers to create these really interesting formations. Oops, maybe I go that way. I'm using the wrong pliers for this. Go with my thick ones here. There we go. Like, look how cool that looks. It's just an easy little wire wrapping technique. So you can go crazy, you can go streamlined. I think in this one, I went very simple and just did like a single wrap. I went down into my first bead and then I wire wrapped around that center bead before doing a coil right above my electroplated chocolate moonstone. And so no right or wrong answer, totally up to you. Fun ways to do this, but I just wanted to cover that for you guys because that was important. I think whenever I get the silkies rounded out next week, I probably will finish this out and catch up with you guys there. But I do need to give you guys a break because that just would not be nice if I had you hang in the entire time until our final slot, which is the tips and tricks for bead organization. I think it'll be a really cool presentation. Kate is going to be heading that up. And I hope you enjoyed my crazy fun tutorials. I can't believe I did 3 projects. That's like, I've never done that before. That's a lot to squeeze into a short amount of time. But stay tuned for more surprises. And if you enjoyed this video, first thing you can do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, hop on the Instagram and definitely follow me there. Sign up for Beadscapade because that's going to be fun. I think I need to turn into a musical too, like Beadscapade. I don't know, let me get my tiara on. There. It'll be a fun time. We're going to be doing 10 projects together, and I'm going to be with one of my friends, actually, from TGVE, which is Christy Friesen, is going to do a project with me, and it's going to be a very sparkly epoxy clay pendant that I'm so excited about. She incorporated some SilverSilk with it. It's so beautiful. And then we've got Miss Cassandra Spicer in the mix, as well as, who else was in there? Names have slipped me since then. I've got a couple more guests, but maybe I should keep them a secret. I know one of them I am because it's pretty special. You'll just have to stay tuned and find out. What else? I think that's all my announcements. Joan, can I bring you on? Are you shy? Should I not do that? Oh, okay. She says, go ahead. I always give her a hard time.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for the crown. It's so royal, and
I had to do it because I know you said it so innocently last year. You said if I had a tiara, I would wear it. I'm remembering that.
I need to start watching what I'm saying because everything you put out into the universe comes true. Here at SilverSilk, dreams do come true. Though.
Yeah.
Join me and we can do this together. And I think just for the Silkies to stay tuned in our SilverSilk Silkies Facebook group, definitely join up in the text notifications. I think you popped the number.
I popped that in. Yeah.
Perfect. As I like to kind of keep people apprised there. And I don't know, more fun and shenanigans later.
Oh, especially during workshop week, right?
Yeah. For that. I think that's going to be so fun.
And now that Neely's house is done, we're going to put him to work a little bit more.
Yeah, I need to do some light decoration, and also once this all comes together, I will be on TV more, which I'm excited about. Not real TV, this virtual environment TV. And doing more tutorials with you guys because I missed that so much. I missed it so hard, and now I want to come back into it, and I want to do more jewelry and show you guys all the fun stuff, what to do with SilverSilk.
Well, we love watching you.
I love watching.
Says I got your back.
Well, my Silkies and other friends out there, I hope you have an amazing time at Great Beat Extravaganza. We love you all so much. Thank you for your continued support for SilverSilk and more. The patronage is just unbelievably wonderful and humbling, and it really helps to drive the business forward. So keep these small businesses in power and fueling with creativity and energy, because we love filling your cup as well with new ideas and new inspiration and all the love that we can possibly give to you. So, mwah to you guys out there, and mwah to Joan. And I guess I will see you guys hopefully very, very soon, probably starting next week.
Yay! Have fun this weekend.